Hi there. I wanted to show you this. This is USDA Forest Service, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, written in 1987. Laser ignition device and its application to forestry, fire, and land management. It says it's informally referred. And you can download the PDF over here. If you want to read more, I've got the link below. So the abstract. Okay, I'm sorry this is cut off. A laser ignition device for controlled burning of forest logging / has been developed and successfully tested. The device, which uses a kilowatt class carbon dioxide laser, operates at a distance of 50 to 1,500 meters. Acquisition and focus control are achieved by the use of laser rangefinder and acquisition telescope. Additional uses for the device include backburning, selected undergrowth removal, safe ignition of oil spills, and deicing. A truck-mounted version will be operational by the fall of 1987, and an airborne version by summer of 1988. And then they tell you where it came from, and there's a link here that you can click on that has this listed and a whole bunch of other forestry plans that they have, and then they've got all the citation. I've got that also in the description box. So this is 1987, using laser to burn and help with forestry. In Phys.org, they have an article, Into the Unknown, NASA Space Laser provides answers to a rainforest canopy mystery. And so then they show you how the laser can be used to tell what's underneath the trees, and they have all this information about how they can tell a lot of things, including well, here, most of the world's species live in tropical forests, and most of those make use of the canopy, and yet we know so little. Rainforest structure matters because it controls how animals access resources and escape predators, and these findings will help us understand tropical forest animals' susceptibility to climate change. So they're using it to find out all this information about what's under the canopy without disturbing the canopy. So I want to go down here a little. Launched in late 2018, NASA's GEDI shoots an invisible laser from the International Space Station into Earth's forests thousands of times a day. Depending on the amount of energy returned to the satellite, it can provide a detailed 3D map that shows where the leaves are and the branches are in the forest and how they change over time. This will help researchers understand the amounts of biomass and carbon forests store and how much they lose when disturbed. And then there's a lot more information here. Okay, let me go down to the bottom here a little. It differs than what they learned in classic textbooks. These findings will not only help us understand how the millions of species that live in a rainforest canopy might acclimate to changing temperatures, but it also shows us how much carbon these forests hold and why they are good at fighting climate change. So they're basically saying here that they can use the invisible radars. They shoot them thousands of times a day into the forest, and they can see what's underneath everything. So this article that was written in 2021 by Vance Tran, How to Start a Fire with a Laser Pointer. And then they say, if you think laser pointers are only good for office presentations and conferences, think again. With the advancement of laser technology, laser pointers are becoming more and more powerful. Some even output powers that can pop balloons, cut electrical tape, and start fires. And so then they talk about that you need a powerful laser. Let's get through the ad. Because they say that it depends on whether or not it can start a fire. They come in a variety of output powers and light colors. Some can meet burning beam threshold, while others might fall short. might fall significantly. Significantly short. You can't expect to start a fire with a small pocket laser with an output of 1 MW. You'll need a laser pointer of much higher class than that. How strong does it have to be? The higher the output power, the stronger the beam. The stronger the beam, the more likely it is to start a fire. The least amount of output you'll need to start a flame is around 500 MW to 1000 MW, and I know I'm not pronouncing that right. But that would still require you to use flammable materials to assist the flame, such as gas, matches, papers, and others. So anything flammable. The paper doesn't have to have gas on it. Okay. Lasers with an output power of 3 W, however, can start a fire in just a couple of seconds without the aid of flammable gasoline or matches. And then they talk about the color differences, and they tell you how to start the fire with it. Okay? So what they're saying is that would basically be helpful if you were camping and you needed a fire to cook with. So I thought this was an interesting article here. The Pentagon spends $1 billion a year developing laser and other energy weapons. This is by Elaine Scherter, 2023. Now they don't say when they started spending. The U.S. Department of Defense is spending roughly $1 billion a year to develop what are known in the trade as directed energy weapons, according to a new report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office. Those include high-energy lasers that can be used to blast drones out of the sky. More recent research has focused on making laser weapons small and light enough to be used by one person, said the GAO, which visited U.S. military installations and the defense contractors, as well as viewed prototype directed energy weapons. The Pentagon is also experimenting with high-power microwave weapons that can penetrate solid objects and disrupt an enemy's power source, sensors, and other electronics. And they're asking whether it's worth the money. And they're saying that the military contractors can make a lot of money developing them. It could mean stronger national security. It could, high energy lasers and microwave weapons might be useful for short range air defense against drone swarms and to counter rocket, mortar, and artillery and mortar fire. And then look, this ad for these boots, which probably burn too. They may be cheaper and more effective than traditional munitions. For instance, weapons that use lasers, microwaves, gamma rays, and other kinds of electromagnetic energy don't need to be loaded mechanically and can be fired repeatedly, according to the GAO. Light from a laser beam can reach a target almost instantly, thereby eliminating the need to calculate an intercept course, as interceptor missiles must do, CRS noted, and that was a quote in its report, in quotations. By remaining focused on a particular spot on the target, a laser can cause disabling damage to the target within seconds, depending on the laser power. Saying it's more accurate, reducing the risk of collateral civilian deaths, which doesn't say that there won't be any. And different U.S. military branches have tested a range of directed energy weapons. For example, the Air Force has developed a high-energy laser that can be affixed to aircraft, while the Navy has tested lasers to disrupt drones and small boats. The Defense Department also expects to produce a powerful prototype laser weapon this year that could soon be used in demonstrations of anti-cruise missiles, GAO said. And then, yet, directed energy weapons also have legal and functional limitations. For instance, some types of laser systems are restricted by international treaty. The United Nations bans laser weapons specifically designed to cause permanent blindness. Previous prototypes have also shown to be affected by rain, fog, sand, smoke, and other atmospheric conditions, while Simply powering such device remains an ongoing challenge. New weapons require new ways of using them. And they're saying to date, billions of dollars the U.S. has plowed into developing these defense systems have largely gone to waste, according to CRS. Well, here, lower down, the United States has been researching directed energy since the 1960s. Yet some experts have observed that actual directed energy programs have frequently fallen short of expectations, and some were canceled. But this article in Eurasian says the U.S. military, this was written in 1922 by Saksi Tawari, U.S. military gets the most powerful laser weapon to date. Lockheed delivers 300 kW DEW, which is directed energy weapon, under the HELSI program. In July, lawmakers asked the armed forces to expedite efforts toward developing directed energy weapons, DEWs. The U.S. Defense Industrial Complex has been testing high-beam laser weapons in conjunction with the military at an unprecedented speed. So, they've been working on them since the 60s. Here's a picture, and it says it's a demonstration. I don't know what this means. The laser will partake in and assist the U.S. Army's indirect fires protection capability. High energy laser scheduled for lab and field testing this year. I don't know what that means. And it says laser-based air defense has become a focus among advanced militaries, including the United States. It is pertinent to mention here that the Iron Brother of the United States, Israel, recently became the first ever country to successfully shoot down drones with laser-based interceptor known as the Iron Beam. So this says the 2023 National Defense Authorization Act calls for bolstering the U.S. and allied air defenses against unmanned aerial systems, UAS and UAV, rockets, and artillery as conflicts in Europe, the Middle East, and a possible war in Western Pacific. So, they're obviously planning on using them. And this delivery from Lockheed Martin of a 300 kW laser weapon was given to the U.S. Navy. It's interesting, on a boat. They're saying Putin used the laser weapon in 2018. So anyway, there's a lot of other sources. If you look up directed energy weapons, there's a lot of different kinds and a lot of companies that have developed stuff. I still think this is extremely interesting that the year it's written is 1987, and they say that it's been developed and successfully tested, which is off here on the side, and I'm sorry. So, I just think this is something that people need to know is real. Okay, grateful for you and here at your service.